Tonight when the sun goes down, you'll flip a switch. Light will flood the room and you won't think twice about it. But for nearly all of human history, that switch didn't exist. When the sun set, the world went dark, truly dark. And in that darkness, something very old inside you still stirs. Why does your heart still race when a floorboard creaks at midnight? The real answer is far stranger than imagination. You think you fear the dark because you can't see what's in it. That's not quite it. You fear the dark because darkness switches off your most important sense. Your brain relies on vision for roughly 90% of how it understands the world. Take away the light, and your brain is left nearly blind inside a system that was tuned for millennia to detect threats. Your ancestors weren't afraid of darkness itself. They were afraid of what hid inside it. 200,000 years ago, your ancestors were not the strongest predators on the savannah. They weren't the fastest. They had no claws, no fangs, no armor. Their greatest weapon was cooperation and the ability to spot danger before it struck. During daylight, that worked. At night, that entire advantage vanished. Lions, hyenas, and leopards see in the dark far better than any human ever could. Night belonged to them. Day belonged to you. Every sunset was, quite literally, a changing of the guard. Anthropologist Richard Wrangham, who studies the evolution of human diet and behavior, argues that control of fire was one of the most important turning points in our species' history. Fire didn't just warm bodies and cook food. Fire pushed back the border of night itself. Around a fire, your ancestors could see each other's faces, tell stories, and keep predators away with light and the smell of smoke. But beyond the ring of firelight, darkness remained predator territory, and your brain remembered, not as a fact in a textbook, as an instinct wired into the body. Here's where it gets stranger. Sleep and circadian rhythm researcher Charles Czeisler of Harvard has shown that the human body is physiologically tuned to a specific cycle of light and darkness, one that governs not just sleep, but anxiety levels and stress hormones. When natural light disappears, serotonin drops and cortisol, the stress hormone, rises. This isn't because you're superstitious. It's because your biochemistry evolved in a world where darkness was, statistically, the most dangerous time of day. Think about this. Why do children fear the dark more than adults do? Aren't adults supposed to be more rational? Evolutionary psychologist Randolph Nessa, one of the founders of evolutionary medicine, offers an explanation that flips the usual logic. Fear isn't a malfunction. Fear is an early warning system, sharpened by millions of years of selection. Children who feared the dark and stayed close to adults at night survived more often. After thousands of generations, that fear is wired into your nervous system before you even learn to speak. Your kid who calls you in to check the closet for monsters isn't being irrational. They're running the oldest survival program your species has. But here's the twist that changes everything. The real danger disappeared long ago. There are no lions in your neighborhood, and yet the fear remains just as sharp as it was 200,000 years ago. Why didn't evolution simply switch it off? Because evolution doesn't optimize for comfort. It optimizes for survival. A system that saved your ancestors' life even once at the cost of 100 false alarms gets kept by natural selection forever. Better to flinch at a curtain's shadow 1,000 times than fail to flinch once in front of a real predator. That math wrote a piece of code that's still running in your head today. And here's what's remarkable. That code fires even in places predators never existed. Psychologists have shown people identical images of faces, first in a lit room, then in near darkness. In the dark, participants consistently rated the same neutral faces as more threatening. Not because the faces changed, because the environment in which the brain was evaluating threat had changed. Darkness literally changes how you see the world in both the literal and figurative sense. Think about how this shows up in your life today. You flip on a nightlight not because you're weak, but because a small circle of light still means safety to a very old part of your brain. You double check the front door before bed, not because you're anxious without reason, but because your ancestors who checked twice outlived the ones who didn't. You feel different walking across an empty parking lot at night than during the day, and that difference isn't imaginary. It's the same mechanism that kept thousands of generations alive, still running today. There's another side to this story. The darkness that was once your enemy also became the birthplace of human culture. Around the fire, your ancestors weren't only hiding from predators, they were telling the first stories anyone ever told. Myths, legends, and early morality most likely began there. In the dark hours when there was nothing left to do but talk to each other, fear of the dark literally pulled your ancestors into a circle, and that circle became the cradle of human culture. Today you rarely sit around an actual fire, but you still search for your own circle of light in the darkness. The glow of a phone screen before sleep, a television left on as background noise, even a podcast playing quietly at night is, in essence, the same fire, just digital. You're unconsciously recreating the exact conditions that make your brain feel safe. Light, a human voice, the sense that you're not alone in the dark. Consider one more piece of the puzzle. Anthropologists studying modern hunter-gatherer communities, like the Hadza of Tanzania, have noticed something striking. Even today, in societies untouched by streetlights, adults rarely wander far from camp after dark, and children are kept especially close once the fire burns low. Across wildly different cultures, separated by oceans and thousands of years, the same basic pattern shows up again and again. Gather close when the light fades. That kind of consistency rarely happens by coincidence. So the next time you flinch at a floorboard creaking at midnight, remember this: it isn't weakness and it isn't superstition. It's an echo of 200,000 years of history recorded in your nervous system. It's the voice of every ancestor who survived precisely because they didn't ignore the dark. Every one of them feared the night just enough to live until morning and pass that fear on to you. Tonight, when you flip that switch again, remember this: you're not just turning on a light, you're continuing a 200,000-year-old tradition of taking back one more safe circle from the dark. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell for more amazing history videos. See you in the next one.